My name is Linda. I'm 42 years old, and what I'm going to tell you today is something I never imagined I would live through, especially with the person I swore to love until death do us part. Because it's one thing for your husband to betray you, but it's something totally different when he does it with the help of your own in-laws, and using the money you saved for years to make a family dream come true. It all started 6 months ago when we were having dinner at my in-laws' house. It was one of those typical Sundays where all of Robert's family got together. We were all there. My in-laws Grace and John, my sister-in-law Patricia with her husband Michael, my younger brother-in-law Andrew with his girlfriend of the moment. I think her name was Danielle. And of course Robert and I with our 2 kids, Sarah, who is 15, and David, who is 12. Dinner was going normally. My mother-in-law had made her famous pot roast, which, although I'd never admit it out loud, never came out as good for me as it did for her. We were talking about everything and nothing when Patricia, my sister-in-law, brought up the topic that would change everything. "Hey, do you all remember that next year is Mom and Dad's golden anniversary?" Patricia said, pouring more iced tea into the glasses. "We should do something special, something big." "Oh, honey, it's not that big of a deal," my mother-in-law Grace replied, with that false modesty she was known for. "As long as we're all together, that's enough." "No, Mom," Robert, my husband, jumped in, wiping his mouth with his napkin. "Patricia's right. 50 years of marriage doesn't happen every day. We should do something memorable." I smiled and nodded, thinking how wonderful it would be to celebrate that family milestone. Robert and I had been married for 18 years, and although not everything had been perfect, I believed we were on the right track. "What about a trip?" I suggested, excited by the idea. "We could all go somewhere special, maybe Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, rent a big villa where we can all stay." My father-in-law John's eyes lit up. He was a man of few words, but when he liked something, his face said it all. "That sounds amazing," Patricia said, clapping. "A family trip. We haven't done anything like that in years." "But it must be really expensive," Andrew, Robert's younger brother, commented while checking his phone as usual, between the flights, the lodging, the food. "We can all save up," I proposed, feeling the excitement build in my chest. "If we start now, by next year we'll have enough. I can research options and budgets." Robert looked at me with a smile, one that I interpreted as pride at the time, but looking back now, it was more like condescension. "My Linda, always so organized," he said, putting his arm around my shoulders. "She's excellent with numbers and planning." "Perfect then," Patricia said. "Linda will be in charge of researching options, and we'll all start saving. How much do you estimate we'd need per family?" I pulled out my phone and started doing some quick calculations. "Well, if we are, let's see. My in-laws, Patricia and Michael with their 3 kids, Andrew and whoever his partner is at the time." Everyone laughed at that comment, and the 4 of us, we're about 14 people. "If we look for a large villa in the low season, plus flights, I'd say about $3,000 per family would be good. Maybe a little more to be safe." "Oof, that's a lot, Michael," Patricia's husband said, scratching his head. "But we have a year," I reminded them. "It's about $250 a month per family. If you think about it, that's what we spend on one nice dinner out." "Linda's right," my mother-in-law said. "Besides, we don't celebrate a golden anniversary every day. I say it's worth the effort." And so it was settled. I would be in charge of researching options, making reservations when the time came, and everyone would save up. I created a WhatsApp group called Golden Anniversary Family Trip, where I would share information and updates. The first few months, everything went wonderfully. I researched dozens of options, compared prices, read reviews, spoke with travel agents. Finally, I found a spectacular villa in Playa del Carmen overlooking the sea, with 6 bedrooms, a private pool, and space for all of us. The owner gave me an excellent price for booking so far in advance. Every month, religiously, I transferred money to a special savings account I had opened for the trip. Robert would give me his share in cash, and I would deposit it along with mine. I kept a detailed Excel spreadsheet with all the expenses and savings, which I shared monthly in the WhatsApp group. "Family, we're already at 40% of our goal," I wrote one day, with several celebration emojis. "At this rate, we'll have everything ready 2 months early." The responses were immediate. Patricia: "Excellent. I already want to be on the beach." Andrew: Did you see the tours? There's one of the cenotes that looks incredible. Michael, Linda, you're the best organizer. My mother-in-law, thank you, honey, for taking care of all this. Robert, curiously, never commented in the group. When I asked him, he'd say that he talked to me in person, so why bother writing if we lived together? 6 months before the trip, when we had 70% saved, it was time to make the reservations. The villa owner had given me until that date to confirm and keep the special price. Robert, I need you to transfer me your part for the villa, I told him one night during dinner. The deadline to keep the price they gave us is tomorrow. Oh yeah, right, he replied, without looking up from his plate. How much is it? It's $4,500 for the 6 rooms for 5 nights. Between the 4 families, that's $1,125 per family. And the others? Did they give you their part? Patricia transferred yesterday, Michael too. And Andrew says he'll give me the cash tomorrow at your mom's lunch. Your parents gave me their part last month. Okay, I'll do the transfer tomorrow without fail, Robert said, taking my hand across the table. Thanks for handling all this, honey. I don't know what we'd do without you. I smiled, feeling that warm glow in my chest when your partner recognizes your effort. If only I had known what was really happening behind those nice words. The next day, Robert transferred the money, and I paid for the villa in full, $4,500 that came out of our savings account. Well, technically, out of my savings account. Because even though it was a joint account, 80% of that money I had put in from my work bonuses and what I saved from my salary. The following months continued with the same dynamic. I kept updating the group with information about the trip, sharing photos of the villa, suggesting activities, coordinating flights. Everyone seemed excited. Patricia had even started a diet to look spectacular on the beach, in her own words. 3 months before the trip, I noticed something strange. Robert started staying later at the office. Nothing extreme, but noticeable. Where he used to get home at 7, now he was arriving at 8 or 9. We have a big project, he would explain when I asked. You know how consulting is. Sometimes you have to put in overtime. I understood. Robert had worked at a consulting firm for 10 years, and it was normal to have busy seasons. Besides, I thought, maybe he was working extra to have more money for the trip. A month later, 2 months before the trip, things got weirder. One Saturday, Robert had gone to play golf with his friends. I decided to get some work done at home. I needed a document I had left in the study, and when I went to get it, I saw Robert's phone on the desk. He had forgotten it. I'm not the type of wife who checks her husband's phone, but when the screen lit up with a notification, I couldn't help but see the message preview. It was from a WhatsApp group I didn't recognize. Golden anniversary trip. Official. Official? What did that mean? Wasn't the group I had created the official one? The phone went dark again before I could see more. I just stood there, with the document in my hand, feeling a shiver run down my spine. Something was not right. When Robert got back, I handed him his phone. You forgot this, I said, studying his reaction. Oh, thanks, honey, he replied, quickly putting it in his pocket. I didn't need it. The guys had theirs. You got several messages, I commented, trying to sound casual. Oh yeah? Must be from work, he said, and quickly changed the subject. What's for lunch? I'm starving. That night, I couldn't sleep well. Something told me that WhatsApp group meant something more, but I didn't want to be the paranoid wife who suspects for no reason. Maybe it was a backup group, or maybe they were planning a surprise for my in-laws. Yeah, that had to be it. What would you have done in my place? Would you have confronted your partner immediately, or would you have waited to get more information? The following weeks I tried to act normal, but I was more alert to everything. I noticed how Robert would sometimes silence his phone when I entered the room, how Patricia would avoid my gaze when we talked about the trip, how my mother-in-law would suddenly get nervous when I mentioned details about the villa. 1 month before the trip, I decided to run a test. At the Sunday family dinner, I brought up the topic of flights. Family, I found an excellent deal on flights, I announced excitedly. If we buy them today, we'll save about 30% off the regular price. Oh, how nice, honey, my mother-in-law said, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. What time do they leave? Patricia asked. There's one that leaves at 6 a.m. We arrive in Cancun at noon, and from there it's an hour to Playa del Carmen. We'd be at the villa by 2 p.m. Perfect, Robert said. Buy yours and the kids' tickets, honey. I froze. Mine and the kids? Yeah, I might have to travel a day later for work. It's not certain yet, but just in case, don't buy mine right now. But Robert, we planned this trip for a year. Surely your work will understand. We'll see, honey. Don't worry about it. I looked around the table. No one would meet my eyes. Everyone suddenly seemed very interested in their food. And you guys? I asked, turning to Patricia and Michael. Are you going to buy the flights? We're also looking into it, Michael said quickly. It's just complicated with the kids, you know. But you told me 2 days ago you already requested the vacation time from work, I reminded him. Yes, but we. Patricia, you explain. Patricia shifted uncomfortably in her chair. It's just, we're seeing if maybe we'll drive. You know, to save a little money. Drive? All the way to Playa del Carmen? That's like a 20-hour drive, Patricia. Well, it's an option, she said, shrugging. The atmosphere became tense. My father-in-law, who almost never spoke, suddenly said, Grace, didn't you make dessert? Oh, yes, my mother-in-law exclaimed, getting up quickly. I forgot about the flan. Linda, can you help me? I followed her to the kitchen, my mind spinning. Something was definitely not right. Mom? I said while she took the flan out of the refrigerator. Is there something going on that I don't know about? Why do you say that, honey? She replied, not looking at me. It's just, everyone is acting weird about the trip. Oh, Linda, it's just your imagination. You know how this family is. We can never agree on anything, she said, laughing nervously. But don't worry, everything will be fine. We went back to the dining room with the dessert, but I no longer had an appetite. The rest of the meal was filled with forced conversation about anything but the trip. That night, when we got home, I confronted Robert. What is going on? I asked him directly. And don't tell me nothing because everyone was acting extremely weird. Linda, I really don't know what you're talking about, he replied, taking off his shoes. My family is always weird. That's nothing new. Robert, we've been married for 18 years. I know you. I know when you're hiding something from me. He came over to me and took my face in his hands. Honey, you're just stressed about the trip. Everything is going to be perfect, you'll see. You've done an incredible job organizing everything. He kissed me on the forehead and went to take a shower, leaving me with more questions than answers. The next few days were torture. I kept acting normal, updating the WhatsApp group with information, but the replies were getting shorter and shorter. I started noticing other things. Robert would get calls that he took in the backyard. Patricia didn't call me to chat like she used to. And when I went to visit my mother-in-law during the week, something I did regularly, she told me she was busy and we should just see each other on Sunday. 2 weeks before the trip, the bomb exploded. It was a Tuesday. Robert had left early for work, and the kids were at school. I had taken the day off to get a head start on preparations for the trip. Packing, buying sunscreen, things like that. I was at the mall when I ran into Lucy, Patricia's best friend. Linda! So great to see you, she greeted me enthusiastically. Hi Lucy, how are you? Great, just buying a few things. Hey, how exciting about the trip, right? Patricia talks about nothing else. Yeah, it's going to be amazing, I replied, although something in her tone caught my attention. I'm a little jealous, honestly, Lucy continued. But Patricia told me it was just for immediate family, although it's weird they didn't include you. I mean, you're Robert's wife, right? I mean, I get not inviting me, but you. The world stopped. I'm sorry? What do you mean? Didn't include me? Lucy's face changed. She went pale and then red. Oh God, I just thought. Patricia told me. Lucy, I said, trying to stay calm, though I felt my legs shaking. What exactly did Patricia tell you? She sighed deeply. Patricia told me they had decided the trip would just be for blood relatives, that it was a tough decision, but this way there would be more room in the villa. She told me you were okay with it, that it was even your idea so your kids could enjoy more time with their cousins without the pressure of... Without the pressure of what? Of spouses. She said you had suggested the spouses stay behind, so it would be a more intimate family trip. That's why Michael isn't going either. I felt like someone had dumped a bucket of ice water over my head. Michael isn't going either? No. As I understood it, it's just your in-laws, Robert, Patricia, Andrew, and the kids. That's why the six-bedroom villa is perfect for them. One for your in-laws. One for Robert and your kids. One for Patricia and hers. One for Andrew. I didn't hear any more. My mind was processing the information at full speed. They had excluded me from the trip. The trip that I had organized. The trip that I had paid for. Lucy, I have to go, I said abruptly. Linda, wait. Are you okay? You look pale. I'm fine, I need to go. I practically ran to my car. Once inside, the tears started falling uncontrollably. It couldn't be true. It had to be a misunderstanding. I took out my phone and opened the trip's WhatsApp group. I started scrolling back through the messages. Everything seemed normal, but now, seeing it with new eyes, I noticed the signs. They never talked about specific details. They never confirmed anything concrete. Their answers were always vague. With trembling hands, I called the villa in Playa del Carmen. Good morning, Villa Paraiso. How can I help you? Hi, this is Linda Mendoza. I have a reservation for 2 weeks from now. Of course, let me check. Yes, I have it right here. Reservation in the name of Linda Mendoza. 6 rooms, 5 nights, arriving July 15th. Everything is confirmed and paid. Perfect. Could you confirm how many people are registered? According to our records, it's 12 people. Do you need to make a change? No, just checking. One more question. Have you been in direct contact with anyone else about this reservation? No, ma'am. All communication has been only with you. In fact, we have a note here that you are the only person authorized to make changes to the reservation. Thank you. That's all. I hung up and just sat in the car, trying to understand what was happening. They had planned to go without me, using the villa that I reserved and paid for. But how did they think they would do it? Were they going to tell me some last-minute lie? I decided I needed more information before confronting Robert. If I've learned anything in my 42 years of life, it's that information is power, and I needed all the power I could get to face this situation. If you're already feeling like this story reminds you of something you've lived through, write to me in the comments. You are not alone in this. I know many of you have gone through similar family betrayals. And believe me, what comes next will show you that sometimes the best revenge is the one served with intelligence, not impulse. That afternoon, when the kids got home from school, I acted as normal as possible. I helped them with their homework, made dinner, all while my mind was working a mile a minute. When Robert got home, I greeted him as usual. Hi, honey. How was your day? I asked, giving him a kiss on the cheek. Rough. Lots of meetings, he replied, loosening his tie. And you? Did you buy the stuff for the trip? Yep, I have almost everything ready, I lied. Hey, I was thinking, we should have a meeting with your family to finalize details. It's 2 weeks away and there are things to coordinate. I saw a flash of panic in his eyes, but he hid it quickly. Yeah? Good idea. Maybe this weekend. How about tomorrow? It's Wednesday. Your mom doesn't have her yoga class. Patricia doesn't work Wednesdays. We could get together for lunch. It's too soon, honey. Let's just leave it for the weekend. Robert, I said, looking at him intently. Is there anything you need to tell me about the trip? No. Why do you ask? I don't know. You seem weird. It's work, honey. This project has me stressed out, but it ends right before the trip. That night, while Robert was sleeping, I did something I had never done in 18 years of marriage. I checked his phone. I know it's wrong, but I needed answers. I found the group. Golden anniversary trip. Official. They were all there. Except me. The messages were revealing. Patricia, are you guys going to tell Linda soon? Robert, this Friday, I'm going to invent a work emergency and say I can't go. Andrew. And the kids? Robert, I'll tell them to go with you guys first and I'll catch up. Linda will stay behind to watch the house. Grace, oh, I feel bad about this. Patricia, Mom, we already talked about this. It's for the best. Linda has never really been part of the family. Robert, besides, she's happy just organizing it. She won't find out until it's too late. Michael, but isn't she going to be angry when she finds out? Patricia, and what is she going to do? Cancel the trip? Everything is already paid for. I kept reading. Every message was a knife in my heart. They talked about me like I was an employee, not Robert's wife, not the mother of two of their grandchildren, not the woman who had been organizing everything. But the message that hurt the most was one from Robert, from 3 weeks ago. Robert, the truth is, it's going to be a relief to have a few days without Linda. She's so controlling with everything. She doesn't let me breathe. This way I can actually relax without having to watch everything I say or do. I had to run to the bathroom to throw up. Controlling? Me? The one who had been organizing the trip of their dreams. The one who had paid for everything. The one who had dedicated months of my life to making this perfect for his family. I went back to bed, trembling with rage and pain. Robert was still sleeping peacefully, unaware that his world was about to collapse. The next 2 days were the hardest of my life. I had to act normal in front of the kids, in front of Robert, while inside, I was planning my revenge. Because yes, Grandma's Diary family, I decided I was not going to sit back and take this. First, I called my lawyer, Sandra, a friend from college. Sandra, I need your help. It's about Robert, and it's urgent. What happened? Is he cheating on you? Something worse. Well, I don't know if it's worse, but it's different. Can you see me today? That afternoon, in her office, I told her everything. Sandra listened, taking notes. Let me see if I understand, she said when I finished. You paid $4,500 for a family trip villa from which they excluded you. Exactly. Is the reservation in your name? Yes. Only my name. And the money came from a joint account? Technically, yes. But 80% of that money was mine. I have the bank statements to prove it. My work bonuses, my savings. Sandra smiled. Linda, legally, that villa is yours. You can do whatever you want with that reservation. Even cancel it? Even cancel it. But, she leaned forward, wouldn't it be more fun to do something, more creative? What do you have in mind? Well, first we need to protect your assets. If you're thinking about divorce— I am, I interrupted. I can't be with someone who despises me like this. Then we need to act fast. First, open a bank account in your name only and start transferring your money, little by little. Second, document everything. Conversations, expenses, all of it. Third, about the trip. How about we teach them a lesson they'll never forget? We spent the next 2 hours planning. Sandra was not just my lawyer, she was my friend, and she was just as outraged as I was. On Thursday, one day before Robert was supposed to tell me he couldn't go on the trip, I put my plan into action. First, I called the villa. Hello, this is Linda Mendoza. I need to make some changes to my reservation. Of course, Mrs. Mendoza. What changes do you need? I need to change the names of the guests. It's going to be different people than I originally thought. No problem. Can you provide me with the new names? I gave them a completely different list. My sister Laura, who lives in Chicago, my best friend Claudia, my cousins from Denver, my mother, my real family. Perfect, Mrs. Mendoza. Anything else? Yes. I'd like to add the premium all-inclusive package. Excellent choice. That will be an additional $2,000. Would you like to charge it to the same card? Yes, please. Next, I called my sister Laura. Laura, do you remember I told you about the family trip I was organizing? Yeah, the one for your in-laws' golden anniversary. Well, there's been a change of plans. How about you, me, Mom, the cousins, Claudia, and our kids go to Playa del Carmen instead? What? Seriously? But what happened with Robert's family? It's a long story. I'll tell you in person. Can you come? Of course. Linda, are you okay? I will be. Trust me, I will be. I made the same calls to my mom, to Claudia, to my cousins. They all accepted immediately. My real family, the ones who had always been there for me, didn't need any explanations to support me. Friday arrived. I was in the kitchen making breakfast when Robert came downstairs with a rehearsed look of concern. Honey, I need to talk to you, he said in a grave voice. What's wrong? I asked, pouring coffee as if nothing was wrong. My boss just called. An emergency came up with the client in New York. I need to travel this weekend. This weekend? But the trip to Playa del Carmen is on Monday. I know. But I might have to stay until Tuesday or Wednesday. I took a sip of my coffee before answering. That's a shame. So what are we going to do about the trip? I've been thinking, Robert said, avoiding my gaze. The kids can go with my parents and my siblings. I'll catch up as soon as I'm done with work. And me? Well, someone has to stay and watch the house, right? Watch the house? I repeated slowly. Robert, we planned this trip for a year. I know, honey, and I feel terrible. But it's work. You know how it is. He moved closer and tried to take my hand, but I subtly pulled it away. We can take a trip just by ourselves later. Just you and me. I see, I said, nodding slowly. And your family is okay with this? Yeah, I already talked to them. They said it's no problem, that the kids are welcome. How considerate, I said, with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. And when exactly are they leaving? Sunday night. My dad is going to drive the SUV. Drive? But we bought flights. Well, we were going to buy flights, but they decided it's better to drive. It's more of an adventure. Right, more of an adventure, I repeated. Robert, are you sure there's nothing else you want to tell me? No. Why? I don't know. You seem weird. Is everything okay with us? Of course, honey. It's just stress from work. You'll see, when I get back from New York, everything will go back to normal. Oh, Robert, if only you knew that nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever be normal again. That night, during dinner, Robert broke the news to the kids. Kids, a problem came up. Dad has to work this weekend and I can't go on the trip from the beginning. What? Sarah exclaimed. But Dad, we planned this for a year. I know, Princess, but I'll catch up in a few days. In the meantime, you'll go with your grandparents. And Mom? David asked. Mom is staying to watch the house, Robert said before I could answer. I saw the confusion on my children's faces. Sarah looked at me, searching for an explanation. Why can't you come, Mom? Well, I began, choosing my words carefully. It seems there's been a last-minute change of plans. But you organized everything, Sarah insisted. It's not fair that you're not going. My daughter. So perceptive. At 15, she already knew when something wasn't right. Life isn't always fair, sweetie, I said, stroking her hair. But don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. David, my 12-year-old boy, looked sad. It's not going to be the same without you, Mom. You guys are going to have so much fun with your cousins and your grandparents, I told them, though it was killing me to lie to them. Saturday was a day of fake preparations. Robert packed for his trip to New York, while I helped the kids with their suitcases for Playa del Carmen. Don't forget the sunscreen, I told them, folding their clothes. And your swimsuits are in this bag. Mom, are you sure you're okay with this? Sarah asked me when we were alone in her room. Why do you ask that, honey? I don't know. It's just weird. You organized everything, and now you're not going. And Grandma Grace has been acting strange. I saw her whispering with Aunt Patricia the other day, and when they saw me, they stopped talking. My girl was more observant than I thought. Sarah, sometimes adults make complicated decisions, but I want you to know that no matter what happens, I will always be here for you and your brother. She looked at me with those eyes she had inherited from me, not from Robert. Mom, are you and Dad okay? I couldn't lie to her completely. We're going through a tough time, but I don't want you to worry. Just enjoy the trip, okay? She hugged me tight. I'm going to miss you. I'll miss you too, sweetheart. Sunday was the day. Robert left early, supposedly for the airport. I'll call you when I get to New York, he said, giving me a quick kiss on the cheek. Sure. Have a good trip, I replied. An hour after he left, I checked his phone's locator. Yes, we had a family locator app. He wasn't at the airport. He was at his parents' house. At 5 in the afternoon, my mother-in-law Grace arrived to pick up the kids. Hi, Linda, she said, without looking me in the eye. Hi, Grace, the kids are ready. It's such a shame you can't come, she said, in a voice that tried to sound sincere but failed miserably. Yes, a real shame, I replied. After all the work I did organizing it. Well, someone has to watch the house, right? Of course. The house, I repeated. Grace, can I ask you something? Tell me, honey, she said. But she went pale. Why? Why pretend? Why not just tell me you didn't want me to come? I don't know what you're talking about, Linda. Grace, I know about the WhatsApp group. I know Robert isn't in New York. I know you all planned this to leave me out. Her face went from pale to red. Linda, It's complicated. Complicated? What's complicated about it? I've been in this family for 18 years. I'm the mother of 2 of your grandchildren. What did I do to deserve this? It's just, she started to cry. Patricia says you always want to control everything, that you don't let the family be close like before. And Robert, he agrees. Robert agrees that I'm the problem? He says he needs space, that you've become very demanding, that you don't let him be himself. Every word was a stab, but I kept my composure. I see. And it didn't occur to any of you that maybe I control everything because no one else bothers to organize anything? That I'm the one who always plans the meetings, the birthdays, the trips? Linda, I didn't want. You didn't want what? To hurt me? Well, congratulations. You succeeded. Now, take my children. Oh, and Grace, enjoy the villa. The one I paid for with my money. Her jaw dropped. You paid? The entire $4,500. From your account? That's right. So yes, enjoy your free vacation. The kids came downstairs with their suitcases. I gave them both a tight hug. I love you so much. Be good and have fun. We're going to miss you, Mom, David said. I'll miss you too, sweetheart. When they left, I was alone in the house. But not for long. An hour later, my sister Laura arrived. Ready to go? She asked. Almost. I just need to do one more thing. I took out my phone and opened the Golden Anniversary Family Trip WhatsApp group, the one I had created. I wrote a message. Family, I hope you have an excellent trip. By the way, there were some small changes to the villa reservation. Since the reservation is in my name and was paid for with my money, I decided to make some adjustments. The villa is now occupied by my family. Yes, the family that appreciates me and doesn't stab me in the back. Robert, I know you're not in New York. I know you're all together heading to Playa del Carmen. I hope you find a nice place to stay, though I doubt you'll find anything in high season. Oh, and Robert, when you get back, if you get back, you'll find the divorce papers on the dining room table. Enjoy your family vacation. I'll be enjoying mine with people who actually value me. I sent the message and turned off my phone. Let's go, I told Laura. To Playa del Carmen? No. First, we're picking up Mom. Our flight leaves in 3 hours. The chaos that erupted after that was epic, from what I was told later. Robert called me over 100 times. My phone was off. When they arrived in Playa del Carmen after a 20-hour drive and presented themselves at the villa, the manager informed them they were not on the guest list. But we have a reservation, Robert insisted. I'm sorry, sir, but Mrs. Linda Mendoza changed the guest list. I have the authorized names here, and you are not on it. But she's my wife. I paid for this. According to our records, the payment was made from Mrs. Mendoza's account. She is the only one authorized to make changes. They had to find emergency hotels, in high season, for 12 people. They ended up in 3 different hotels, spending triple what the original trip would have cost. Meanwhile, I was on the beach with my real family. My sister Laura, my mother, my cousins, my best friend Claudia, women who had always supported me, who never judged me, who celebrated my achievements instead of minimizing them. Linda, I can't believe they did that to you, my mother said, as we drank margaritas in the villa's private pool. I can't believe you put up with it for 18 years, my cousin Rose added. It's just. When you love someone, you ignore a lot of signs, I replied, but not anymore. My friend Claudia, who is a psychologist, looked at me with understanding. What they did is emotional abuse, Linda. Excluding you like that, making you feel like you don't belong, using your money and your work, that's pure manipulation. I know. Now I know. The second day, I turned on my phone just to call my kids. Sarah answered. Mom, where are you? Everything is so weird here. I'm fine, honey. Are you okay? Yeah, but, Mom, we're not in the villa. We're in an ugly hotel. Dad is furious. Grandma won't stop crying. Aunt Patricia is screaming all the time. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I didn't want you to be affected. Mom, I heard what they said. They said they left you out on purpose. That's not right. No, it's not right. Mom, are you going to divorce Dad? I couldn't lie to her. Probably yes, honey. I get it. I wouldn't want to be with someone who treated me like that either. My girl. so mature for her age. I love you, Sarah. Tell David I love him too. Mom? Can we come stay with you when you get back? Of course, honey. Always. The rest of the trip was therapeutic. For the first time in years, I felt free. I didn't have to worry about pleasing anyone, about meeting impossible expectations, about proving I was good enough for a family that never really accepted me. My sister Laura walked with me on the beach one afternoon. You know what the saddest part is? I told her, as the waves washed over our feet. I really loved them. Despite everything, I considered them my family. Linda, family isn't who you're related to, it's who chooses you, and they clearly didn't choose you. But I chose them. For 18 years. And look how they repaid you. No, sis, you deserve better. When I returned home 5 days later, Robert was already there. The divorce papers were still on the table, untouched. Linda, we need to talk, he said as soon as I walked in. There's nothing to talk about, Robert. The papers speak for themselves. You can't do this to me. It was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I laughed without humor, planning for weeks how to leave me out of the trip I organized and paid for. That's a misunderstanding? It wasn't like that. My family pressured me. Patricia said you always want to be the center of attention, that you don't let us be ourselves. And what did you say to them? Did you defend me? Did you remind them that I am your wife, the mother of your children? His silence was all the answer I needed. That's what I thought, I continued. Robert, you called me controlling. You said it was a relief to be without me. I was angry. No, you were being honest. For the first time in a long time, you were honest about what you really think of me. Linda, please, we can fix this. We can go to therapy. Therapy? Robert, you betrayed me. You humiliated me. You stole from me. Because yes, using my money for a trip you excluded me from is theft. There is no therapy that can fix that. And the kids? The kids stay with me. I already spoke to my lawyer. I have evidence of everything. The messages, the payments, all of it. You don't want to fight me for custody. You can't take my kids from me. I'm not taking them. You'll have your visitation, but they will live with me. By the way, Sarah already knows everything. She heard you all talking at the hotel. She's very disappointed in you. Robert turned pale. Sarah knows? Yes. And David will find out too when he's old enough to understand. Not from me, but because eventually he'll figure it out on his own. They always do. The following months were difficult, but liberating. The divorce was relatively quick. Robert didn't fight much. Probably because he knew he had no case. The evidence was overwhelming. I kept the house, which I had inherited from my grandmother, custody of the children, and most importantly, my dignity. Patricia tried to contact me once, 3 months after the divorce. Linda, I know you probably don't want to talk to me, but I need to apologize. Apologize? For what, Patricia? For convincing my husband to betray me? For treating me like trash for years? For using my money for your vacation? I was jealous, she admitted. You were always better than me at everything. More organized, more successful. Your kids are better students. Robert always talked about how amazing you were, and I wanted my brother to see you weren't perfect. And did it work? Are you happy now that you destroyed my marriage? Robert is miserable. My parents won't talk to me. They say it was my fault. My own husband is considering divorcing me. He says if I was capable of doing that to you, what wouldn't I do to him? Karma. That's all I said before I hung up. Robert tries to win me back every time he comes to get the kids. Linda, I was happy with you. I didn't know how to value it. That's your problem, Robert, not mine. Don't you miss me at all? I miss the man I thought you were. But that man never really existed, did he? My kids are doing great. Sarah is about to start college, and David just won a chess tournament. They are thriving, far away from the toxic environment of their father's family. Mom, Sarah told me a few days ago, thank you. For what, sweetie? For teaching me that a woman doesn't have to put up with mistreatment from anyone. Not from her husband, not from her in-laws, from no one. I wish I had learned it sooner. You learned it in time, and you taught me. That's what matters. Have you had a mother-in-law or in-laws like that? Do you think I exaggerated, or did I do the right thing? The truth is, I don't regret anything. Well, maybe one thing. I regret putting up with it for so long. I regret normalizing the contempt, the passive aggression, the feeling of always being an outsider in what was supposed to be my family. I'm 43 now, and I'm starting over. But this time, I'm doing it surrounded by people who actually value me. My sister Laura moved closer to support me. My mother comes over every weekend. My friends organized a support system that held me up in the most difficult moments. And the villa in Playa del Carmen. Well, it turns out the owner was so impressed with how I handled everything. I told him the story when I called to thank him for the service. That he offered me a 50% discount if I want to come back this year. Mrs. Linda, he said, women like you, who know their value and don't let anyone trample them, they deserve the best vacations. And you know what? He's right. This year, I'm going back to that villa. With my real family. With the people who chose me as much as I chose them. Robert and his family can keep their secrets, their plots, and their betrayals. I'm keeping my peace, my dignity, and the certainty that I did the right thing. Because at the end of the day, Grandma's Diary family, the best revenge isn't making those who hurt you suffer. The best revenge is showing them you don't need them to be miserable. They take care of that all by themselves. And while they deal with the consequences of their actions, you move forward, stronger, wiser, and definitely happier. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who also needs to hear it. In the comments, tell me, have you lived through something similar? What country are you watching from? I read all the comments, and believe me, your stories inspire me as much as I hope mine inspires you. Remember, it's never too late to set boundaries, to demand respect, to choose yourself. Sometimes, the family we choose is much more valuable than the one we were given. And sometimes, the best gift we can give ourselves is the freedom to start over, without the weight of those who never knew how to value us. I'm Linda. This was my story here on Grandma's Diary. And I want you to know that if I could get out of that situation, you can too. You are not alone. You never are. Until the next story, family. And remember, karma always arrives. Sometimes it just needs a little push from us.